Ladies and gentlemen, this is Andrew Krabschetz, the CEO and founder of RedBalloon.work, and as you know, I'm also the host of The Pipeline. Usually I have to look on a Zoom camera when I'm talking to my guests. Today, I have the unmitigated pleasure of another bald guy. Nethaniel Ealy is here in studio, and we're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about the business of construction and a bunch of other businesses that Nethaniel's involved in. So, Nethaniel, you have started a variety of businesses. You're an entrepreneur. Maybe you can give me and our listening guests a quick rundown on some of the businesses that you've started and are running now.
Sure. First off, just thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Good to be here with another bald guy.
Yep.
And we currently own and operate 3 businesses.
Okay.
Ealy Construction, that's a design, build, remodeling company.
Yep.
I've had that for 18 years. And then we acquired Moscow Glass and Awning, another construction company, about a year and a half ago. And we just launched a completely unrelated business, a tax savings service and software called the Augusta Rule, where we automate tax savings for business owners.
That's really cool. Okay, so we're going to talk a bit about the construction business and just kind of how do you think about construction. And for those who don't know, who aren't bald and don't have the inside track, bald guys, when you see another bald guy, there's an instant affinity. Like I'll see a guy on the street and it's just like, hey, nice haircut. It's just a thing we do. So
there you go.
Not related at all to what we're doing here. So when you started Ealy Construction 18 years ago, let's start with that. Did you get investors? Did you bootstrap? How'd you buy the tools? Like, what does it take to start a construction business if you have a young entrepreneur out there thinking about it?
Sure. I think everybody's story is going to be different. Mine was that I was being asked over and over again to do work for people out of college because I had construction skills. I'd been raised in a family with a lead carpenter. My dad's a lead carpenter still to this day, 50 some years later full time. And so I had a lot of skills already built up because I was made to work in the family business growing up, which I did not appreciate. It was very good for me.
But you're grateful now.
Very grateful now.
Yes.
Exactly. Yep. And out of college, I tried different things because I graduated a semester early, but then it was a boom time in construction. So I got asked to work and I just kind of jumped up the ladder 6 months here, 6 months there, foreman, project manager. And I was actually asked to start a company by another gentleman in town. That ultimately failed. And it failed in large part because of character flaws in myself. But I own just my side of it,
Absolutely, yeah.
But the market conditions were also terrible at the time. We were just getting into the recession, the Great Recession.
Yep.
So at that time, I'm like, I didn't pay attention. I'm like, oh, okay, I just lost my job. So what am I going to do? Well, I did get a little bit of a check, and I took that check and bought tools and was already in relationship with people. I think that's the key. I had relationships. Right. People knew me, they trusted me.
Yep.
They asked me to do work for them. So I immediately had work. 6 months later, I had 5 people on my team because it was a boom time.
Right. So you kind of came out of this recession, a painful experience, character flaws, all the things. And I would say so many entrepreneurs have to deal with that all the time, right? Yep. Whether it's your mistakes, whether it's other people's mistakes, whether it's market conditions, you just need to deal with the fact that businesses fail sometimes. And you can either, sit on your couch and cry in your beer, or you can go take your little check, buy some tools, and just get back to work.
Yep. And I think the biggest thing to highlight there is that timing matters.
Right. Yep, for sure. Okay, so as you started adding employees, talk me through what it took to put people on payroll, to manage people, to build culture around hard work.
Yeah. So basically, people ask, okay, how'd you get where you're at? And my answer is typically trial and error, mostly error. And that applies to this area specifically. So
totally. Yeah, totally. Yes.
So I did everything wrong. Basically, I hired people who were all 1099 contractors, which is not even legal anymore.
That's right.
At the time, it was like gray, not that gray. You could get away with it, basically. And I thought, okay, well, employees are expensive.
Yes.
I thought, okay, well, I need to have people, but I can't afford them. So what do I do? And I just basically anybody who was breathing, who would show an interest, I would hire them, right? Put them to work and set them up.
Yep.
Basically. So we did that for a few years. And then as we kept growing, I think we had 8 or 9 people. And the recession, to be clear, already happened. Like it started down in California.
Yes.
We were watching it occur and did nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
so
like,
that's how smart we were.
This isn't going to come to my town.
Exactly.
Yeah. That worked out.
And so we're evolving and growing, and then we get the advice. We finally got a lawyer and the accountant, the bookkeeper, like everybody in the room, all the professionals, and be like, all right, what do we need to do for employees? And they're like, no, you got to do this. And so we made that switch right before the recession hit our town.
Brutal.
So it was brutal. So it wiped us out. I think construction or housing sales in our town dropped by like 25%,
right,
within a single quarter.
Yep.
And that's a direct supply of remodel projects. And so our work got wiped out. I mean, there's so many other things we had wrong, our pricing model, like all kinds of other things. And so I had to lay off all my now employees, and it was just me, and it was the year I got married. And so there's me and my new wife and my brother-in-law looking at her and being like, can this loser provide for you? Literally.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it worked out because you're still married.
Yep. Still married.
Yeah.
Still have the business.
And was this before or after you lost the fingers?
This was after. So I lost the fingers. This would have been
the dangers of construction, ladies and gentlemen.
The fingers went actually at the second to last day that I ever worked in the field for somebody else.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It became the last day.
Yeah, it became the last day. That's exactly. So I'm headed to the hospital. See you later.
Yep, I had been headhunted to go from a lead carpenter position to a project manager position to launch that new company.
Yeah.
And lopped these puppies off.
Yeah, you did.
On a Thursday.
Why wouldn't you?
Yep. So there you go.
Yep. Table saw.
Yep, table saw.
Okay. Right. So from the lessons you learned, how did you change the way you started doing hiring and thinking about employees from all the lessons from firing people, from 1099s and all that?
Slowly.
Yeah.
Very slowly.
Okay.
So very dense. I had basically, the way I think of it is I had a bunch of head trash. I had a bunch of lies that I believed were the truth about employees, about hiring, and I had to work my way through all these things.
What is some of your head trash?
Let's talk about my head trash.
Let's talk about head trash.
So again, I already referenced I thought they were too expensive, to have. I thought things like, I don't need to market. I have plenty of work, because work would come in,
right,
but it wasn't necessarily A+ work. It wasn't ideal clients, right? We would just take whatever came. I have plenty of work. I don't have to market. I thought helping always looked like having one or more drug addicts or alcoholics or recovering of those two on the team at all times, because that's what the picture of helping I had was in my past. So I continued that forward, and it took really the break point was when two of these guys who were in that position stole some prescription drugs from a client of mine, lied about it to my face. I couldn't tell, and the client turns to me and says, "Nethaniel, my brother died on that very prescription drug, overdosed and killed himself." And I about vomited, and I said, "This will never happen again."
Yeah, that would.
It was pretty awful.
That would do it.
Yeah.
So when you tried to kind of combine ministry / business, you have to be really careful about that.
Correct. You have to understand things in their sphere, in their place, and have some humility about your lane.
Right.
So I realized that by loving these guys, I was hating my clients.
Yeah.
Hating
you
clients.
can still love your employees. You can still bless your employees.
Yeah.
But not by
But that's not how you do it.
But that's not how you do it. And that's the thing. So at Red Balloon, we're like, hey, we want to bless our customers. We want our customers to be better because they interact with us, whether they buy anything or not. We want to bless our employees. We want them to be better people because they're working here, and we want to bless our shareholders. And we want to check all three boxes with every decision we make, right? And so it's very easy to get obsessed with one of those boxes. And I think even some of the social movement that's happened over the last several years forgot at least two of those stakeholders. They talk about stakeholder capitalism, but if you care about your customers and your employees and your shareholders, it's hard to do really stupid things in business and still be a blessing to all three of those categories.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah, you have to have the hierarchy in place
correct.
Of thought, of priority.
Yeah. Okay.
So
anyway, so that was some of your head trash around thinking around employees. We're entrepreneurs. Of course we have head trash. That's just, we have these ideas we're absolutely fixed in. And the thing is, as an entrepreneur, and I've heard this from multiple people, you have to be dead set on an idea or else it'll never work anyway, whether it's the right idea or not. And so we tend to be really stubborn people because we're like, no, this has to be the way, because we're trying to pitch everyone on why we think this business will work, why they should invest in the business, why they should buy our products, whatever it is.
High pain tolerance.
Right, high pain tolerance.
Yeah.
But there's a dark side to that, and that's where some of the head trash comes from. So once you've kind of identified head trash, you've removed some head trash. What are some of the principles you try and use when hiring now besides slow?
Yeah, that's right. Right now, at this point, we have a 10-step documented hiring process in our construction business, and then we actually we actually leverage that unique ability in that business to do our hiring for other businesses because it's so strong. And so basically the thing that I would say that get clear on first, that we had to get clear on first, was our core values. And that's the 5 things that differentiate us from the market. And I would refer to Gino Wickman's Traction for this. He's got the best, I think, discussion on core values that I've seen. Just a few pages, but very powerful. And so we got really clear on those. And those, for the audience, you don't need to have those 100% right off the bat, but you do need to work on them. And so for us, we have those 5. We hire, fire, promote, and demote on those. They're published, on our walls. They're in our hiring material, everything. And then once we did that, we more formalized our interview process. We made it, really just like this step, this step, this step. I mean, we did things like not have them fill out a form to begin with, and we literally hired people that had no driver's license.
Perfect.
We did
Right.
some of the dumbest stuff. We had somebody whose spouse was about to be on trial for manslaughter. And we did. you can laugh at this. You're like,
can you say baggage?
Me? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I mean, so like, if there's a way that it could have been done wrong,
but we've all done that, right?
Yeah.
And you think, but I have to fill this job right now, and I've seen a lot of desperation hiring, and that generally doesn't go well.
No,
where it's
terrible.
like, I've got a project, I've got a customer, the customer's going to be disappointed. I'm going to hold a mirror under this person's nose. If it fogs up, they're good to go.
Yeah.
Back to your principles, core values. What are those for Ealy Construction?
Yeah, for Ealy Construction, we borrow one from Patrick Lencioni. So that's humble, hungry, smart. So we're looking for people who are they think rightly of themselves. They think they're like, look, I'm here to learn. I want to learn. They're hungry for a raise. They're hungry to learn more and to be promoted. And they're not only actually, they not only have a high IQ and they're actually intelligent, but they're also emotionally intelligent. Right. So that's one. And then another one is the 3 loves. So, and that's very similar to yours, which is ours is, love the team, love the client, love the work. The 3 loves. And then
love that.
Yeah, it's very similar. So, and then another one is organized organizer. So we only hire people who are not only individually organized, but they create an ever expanding sphere of organization around themselves.
Okay.
Yep.
Unpack that a little bit. What does that mean? So
Yeah.
Do you need all kind of anally retentive people who have to have everything just so and
Not at all.
are a little OCD?
Not at all. So one of the things we do in our hiring process, one of the 10 steps, is we do a Colby A assessment. And that is a basic assessment to fast forward our understanding of people's mode of operation. So how do you initiate action?
Yep.
And sometimes we have people who are super high detail. I mean, they need every little detail to function, and they are phenomenal in their roles. And then we have people who are very low on detail. This guy, they literally know not to tell me all the details. And so how that ties in with the organized organizer is within that context of everyone's unique ability, because we use that language a lot, comes straight from strategic coach Dan Sullivan, unique ability. That's your God-given gifts. And within that context, we're having people who are high detail and low detail, but all of them are oriented around those core values, and they're all oriented around the mission, and they understand their place in the mission. And when they look at other people, we literally had this talk in our meeting this morning. We have a Tuesday meeting. We asked the question, what should never change about our company? And some of the things that people highlighted were the fact that, look, there's no classic boss here. That does not mean nobody's in charge.
Right.
It means that they are so clear on what needs to happen that they know what to do in their role. They know how to initiate in their unique ability, and they know how to get stuff done, and they're respected by other people. So when I look at the person who's opening the mail, or the person who is signing the checks, or the person, or anybody, I'm like, you do what you do so uniquely, I respect it.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Now, and we're not done. I've heard 3 so far, but if I hear all this and I'm a business, I'm like, yeah, but the more steps and process I put between where I am today and hiring someone, the more friction I'm adding, which means it's going to be harder to hire people, or they need a reason to come work for you. So do you pay better? Do you have a great employment brand? Or do you just assume we're going to find the people? It might take longer to get them through the process, but we're going to find them.
So we actually find people a lot faster than most companies. We found a lot faster. And there's a number of steps to this. So it starts with that core value. And then on top of that, when we market to get people to come in our pipeline for interviews, we're using sales copy oriented job descriptions.
That's right. It's an ad.
It's an ad. It's a marketing piece. I think so many businesses get this wrong.
They put in a job description.
Oh, it's terrible. It's like eating a case of saltine crackers with no water when you read the job description. It's just like awful, right? And so ours opened with 2 questions. And one is top of funnel. For example, if we need to hire like a high detail person, it would say something like, let's say it's for like bookkeeping or something. It would say, do people make fun of you for how organized you are? Right? Like that turns the brains off of like everybody. Most people, their brain turns off, they walk away.
Right.
And you'd think that would repel people from your job, okay?
Right.
Which it does, but the right people it attracts irresistibly.
Right.
Right? They cannot not read the next paragraph.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And then the next paragraph is more specific to the position in our company.
Yep.
Which means, and then it just follows. So the purpose of each one is just to read the next paragraph.
Right.
Because that's sales copy.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we actually had to learn that and
Yep.
apply it after complaining for a decade like everybody else in our industry.
Right.
Add that skill to our business.
Right.
And so an example of our hiring is we needed a GM for Moscow Glass. We put the position out. We had 61 applicants and hired a guy in 10 days and moved him from out of state.
Okay. And you ran them through the whole process when you did this. Okay. Amazing. Yep. Okay. All right.
So now the whole process did not take 10 days.
Right.
But we identified him and started him in our hiring process.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
our hiring process does take longer than most.
Right.
If we fast track it, it's 2 weeks.
Okay. So it does take a while.
It is robust.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our
yeah.
current average is 55 applicants to 1 hire.
Yeah.
55 to 1.
Yeah. Okay, so let's finish going through
Yeah.
the kind of the core values, and
Sure.
then I do want to hear more about the hiring process.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's see if I can get my core values all nailed down, memorized. Another one is grateful enjoyer. Right?
Okay.
Because
Yep.
we actually love Mondays. Like our whole team likes to show up for work. And if they don't, we have the unmitigated privilege of working anywhere we want.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be in our
Yeah.
company.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Like,
Yeah. If you don't enjoy it, go find
Yeah.
somewhere you do enjoy.
as human beings in the United States right now, you can work anywhere you want.
There are a lot of options.
There's so
Yeah.
much freedom.
Yep.
So if you don't want to work here, you're free to work somewhere else. You know, and we actually like showing up. We're grateful for it. We're grateful for the challenges that we have in our job. And so that's a core value for sure. And then I think the last one is golden rule caring. You know, we are literally just looking to love our neighbors like we want to be loved. And that doesn't always mean the client's right, but it means that we should be expertly loving them with our guidance.
Yeah, I love that. And
Yeah.
so, and you know, it kind of ties into the 3 loves that
Yeah.
talked about already. Okay, so core values. How often do you talk about those core values with the entire team?
Yeah. So we talk about them every week at our weekly meeting in one form or another. So we have a weekly cadence. There's just a 15-minute all-company meeting, and that is a major element of that all-company meeting.
Yeah.
Yep. Other than that, it's special teams meetings.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think that's a principle that I've talked to many entrepreneurs and owners about is you need to understand that you think about the company core values all the time. You think about your business all the time. Your employees, you'd be surprised if they don't know. They're not opposed to knowing about or obsessing even about these company values, but you need to be the one taking the lead on actually talking about it, bringing it forward, or else it's going to be forgotten, right?
Correct.
So
it has to be embodied, it has to be highlighted, it has to be praised.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All
That's
these
right. And you
things.
can't be a hypocrite about it,
Correct.
right? You need to live them out yourself.
Yep.
But when you do that, people internalize them. They
do.
just naturally do because you're talking about them all the time. You're thinking about them all the time. You're embodying them all the time. But you need to do that, or else you can't just put them on a wall, and they will be ignored. I
That's
guarantee
correct.
it.
And so the bridge from doing everything all wrong to where we are now, we haven't lost a single team member in that business that we have not wanted to leave in over 8 years. We just actually lost the first one, and it was because his family is on the East Coast, and he had an opportunity through his wife's job, like a once-in-a-lifetime hiring opportunity over there through her to be near their family. Yeah. And so he wasn't looking to leave, and that's the first time in 8 years we've lost a team member that we have not wanted to leave the company.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And so to go, the bridge between those two, there's a number of steps, right?
Yep.
So we got clear on the core values. We started a process of interviewing people, which was really rudimentary to begin with. Like it was not great.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So let's hear. Where did you start, and where are you now when it comes to your kind of hiring process?
Yeah. So I described where we started, which was absolutely no process. If they could fog a mirror, you can jump on board.
Right.
And you could have a literal open criminal case, and we might have hired you. Or your spouse, at least. Yeah.
Perfect. No problem.
Right. To today, where we haven't lost a single person we haven't wanted to lose in 8 years. And not only that, but we have at this point, we just got our 8th regional and national award like 2 weeks ago for like best project in the country in its category.
Wow. That's cool.
So an incredible award-winning team. in every single success metric that I can think of, our team absolutely kills it. It's a model company. It's a self-managing company. So I'm involved for the 15-minute meeting every week, and I stay for the production meeting another 45 minutes because I really want to keep a tempo of what's going on and what my team's facing. And then after that, it's purely elective. So I'm a company owner.
Yep. Got it. Okay. So what does your hiring process look like today? You said it's if you fast track it, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Walk us through that.
Yeah. So I know there's 10.
And do you think it's the right thing for everybody? And that's the other thing I want you to hear.
It's a great question, right? Yeah. I would say it's not the right thing for every person.
Okay.
Right. So because we've built up to this point, we have a natural immune system to bringing on the right people and repelling the wrong people. But you have to build up to that. So you have to get that first key hire. So I would say it's not right for everybody. But it is an ideal to work towards, I would say. And I would say that just because it's the success that we've had with it.
Right.
Yep. So as far as the 10 steps, I am not the person to rattle those off because I have a self-managing company. I have people who do this for me.
Yes. So you helped design it maybe, or at least you were involved in that design initially.
I was, and I have input.
Yes.
And probably half of those 10 steps did not come from me. And I think that's a key point to take away for your audience.
That's true.
Like, you don't need to be the process person.
Right.
I'm not the process guy. Like, I'm not. I'm terrible at it. In fact, that as shown by my history of hiring. Right. In fact, I don't know about you, but when I'm just like, this is the greatest place to work. You should come work for our company.
Yeah, right.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we're the cheerleader. We're the chief entertainment officer, CEO.
Like, this is the best place to work.
Right.
So you need people who are like squinty eyed. Like, who are you? Like, why are you here?
Yeah. Why should I hire you?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And you need those people on your team. Some people might be that. I'm not. So what I'm saying is you need to actually hire to your strengths.
Right.
So whatever is a complementary strength, meaning the one that you don't have,
you
probably need to hire for that first.
Yep. You can't rattle off the 10, but can you give me at least some pointers?
Some pointers
to companies who are thinking about bringing more sophistication to their hiring process.
So initially, just having a checklist, because if they can't fill out a checklist, like, why are you talking to them? But even it goes back to when we have them apply, we require a cover letter, and it's not because we want them to write us some like beautiful poem or essay. I just want to see if you can spell, right?
Overrated.
Can you spell?
I can't spell.
Right? But you know what? Your word processor can.
Yes, and there's these little red squiggly lines in them.
Just like, you want to see how functional individuals are, right? Because core values are great, but the next half of the equation is skill.
Right.
You can have the most amazing core value match, and the skills lacking, and you're failed on launch.
Right.
And so that's actually part of it. Like, can you actually write a sentence? Right.
Yeah.
And so there's that. Then there's a checklist. And then we actually do a little bit of our own investigation on an individual if they've given us enough information.
100%. Yep.
Whatever we can find publicly. Then we're going to have a brief 15-minute interview, low commitment, low bar of entry. We just want to hear how they talk on the phone. Right. How do you present yourself?
Yep.
Right. And it's very basic.
Yep.
If they pass that, then they go on to a full hour interview, and we try to get those in person.
Yeah.
We've even flown people in for those. So it just that's rare for us. Usually they're willing to travel, but we will. Okay. And then we actually, before or after that interview, is the Colby assessment. So that's where we're getting there. How do you initiate action? Are you high detail, low detail? You work with your, the built environment in this way or that way.
Yep.
There's different things there. And then after that one, we're going to do an extended interview, usually an hour, I think, with who would be their direct report in the company. So whoever their direct report would be, then it's an interview with them. And then we actually hire people before we hire them. So what I mean by this is we will then hire someone on paper. They're officially hired, they're legally hired and everything.
Yep.
We literally tell you, we will pay you minimum wage at least.
Right.
And you will come work for us for 2 days.
Yeah.
In-person trial.
And we're going to see how it goes.
And then we'll find out how much you're getting paid after that.
Yep.
And we've already bracketed the position in terms of this is how much we can pay for it.
Yep.
Again, state laws vary on this, right?
Yep.
But when they're done with that, we're like, here's how much we could pay you. Here's how much you did. 2 days is ideal. One, they can get that amount of time off from their job, typically speaking. We've had some people who do fine the first day and they don't show up the second.
Really?
It's interesting. I'm telling you, 2 days is the sweet spot for us.
Yeah.
And it's probably different for different industries.
Yep, totally.
So we do that. And then after that, depending on if they traveled or not, we go right to, here's your offer, an actual letter, official job offer, description, all that type of stuff. Or dinner with my family and I. And we sit down, and that's actually a last step, and that's straight from Dave Ramsey, like meet their spouse.
Yep.
Are you bringing crazy into the company inadvertently?
Yep. Yep, I did that once. I had
Yeah.
a VP of sales at a previous business that I was interviewing. Phenomenal guy, like really, really sharp. And so we flew his family in, which is a bunch of expense.
Yeah,
but
costs a lot of money.
but it's important. This is a very key position. And his wife was crazy and told stories about how she doesn't make her children wear clothing. And they were at a friend's house, and the kids like to climb up the freezer and pee in the guest freezer.
And told you this.
And told me this, and I'm like,
around dinner.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want crazy in my business.
correct.
So
And
no
it's
thanks.
amazing what people will tell you.
And it cost me thousands of dollars to bring them in, and saved me tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars not to hire them.
That is the thing you have to remember, right? It actually is cheaper this way. And I think for the business owners who just have a small team or are trying to figure this out, you've got to start incrementally and build up to these things. But you will learn one way or the other. You can learn from this podcast or a book, or you're going to pay your tuition fees, and those tuition
100%.
fees are steep.
They're very, very expensive.
They're very steep.
Yeah, and of course at Red Balloon, we talk to employers all the time who hired a woke employee and literally shut their doors 6 months later because that one employee took their business out entirely.
Correct.
And what I like about this is I like that it's a system, it's a systematic process.
Yep.
You don't need to necessarily be involved in all the process. You're having someone run the process. But there is a dark side to that too. Like everything, no matter what you're doing, you can do it badly.
Correct.
Because I've seen businesses that have a very sophisticated process and they're super wooden about it. Like we do this, even if it doesn't make sense for this position, even if it doesn't make sense.
Got to check the boxes.
We got to check all the boxes, and we're losing tons of good candidates because we don't love the process. We're just running the process without thinking about it or explaining it or communicating or any of those things.
So one of the things we do in our weekly meeting, in the production meeting actually, is we do a hiring review. So where are we at? Who are we hiring? Who's in the pipeline?
Yep.
And so that way the whole team gets a little introduction to who's in there, where are they at, what's the feedback. So when we do meet them on an interview call, if we have that, that duty or privilege, we're not blindsided.
Yeah, that's good. That's
so,
good.
and we can slow down or speed up the process.
Yep.
Like if there's uncertainty, slows down.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's a lot of certainty, speeds up.
Right.
If it's a laborer in construction, hardly any of this process exists.
That's
right. Like, oh, great, you're a laborer.
As long as you don't have a major criminal background and doing drugs right now.
Did you fill out the form? Did you show up? Okay, great. We'll start you basically.
Yeah, you're
and then
in
we'll
good
go
shape.
from there.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not. You gotta have a different process depending on the level of responsibility, the level of their ability and their position to shipwreck the business.
That's right. That's right. That's really, really smart. Okay, so this is how you've built these businesses, which I think is amazing. But we did want to talk about your new business, which I have no idea what it is. So
Fantastic.
I'm going to learn real time,
That's right.
right in front of the camera, what you're doing.
Sure. So what we're doing is we're automating a rule that is somewhat known to entrepreneurs. I would not say greatly known, somewhat known, and somewhat known, probably a little bit more known to their tax professionals, CPAs, EAs, et cetera. It's known as the Augusta rule. And right away, if people know what that rule is, they're like, their brain kind of turns off a little bit. They're like, yeah, I've heard about this, but whatever.
Okay.
If they don't know about it, they're like, okay, well, what is that? So let's talk about what it is. And I'll tell you why you should still pay attention if you've heard of it and your brain turned off.
Right. Because I find, I mean, I'll just speaking for myself, when my CPA comes to me and like, okay, we could do these strategies to save on taxes, I find it deeply uninteresting.
Yeah.
It's just not interesting to me. But it is meaningful.
Yes.
And it can save a lot of money.
Correct. And you actually
So don't turn your brain off.
That's right. Well, you actually just touched on probably one of the central things with tax strategies. Business owners should not be distracted from their business by tax strategies.
That's right. Because
You should not be.
It's just not that interesting to me.
Correct. You should be focused on how you create value because you have unique abilities and you show up in the marketplace in a very specific way that I would say God made you for,
Amen.
And you should be so focused on that. And if a tax strategy takes you away from that, it's failing. It's actually holding you back from value creation. Typically speaking, there's maybe some exceptions to that are
you need to be aware.
mega bucks if you have a certain velocity of capital.
Right.
But for most people, that's the case.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So let's just put that down there as baseline.
Got it.
Stay focused on what you do.
Yep.
Okay. So that's what we've done with the Augusta rule. The short answer is we've automated it so that you're not distracted.
Okay.
So we've basically built a system and process, a software and service that takes what used to be a super clunky, super paperwork heavy, distracting, like don't bother me, tax, a strategy. And now it's just like sign up and you get free money. So that's the short answer. So
Sign
let's
up and you
talk
get
about
free
it.
money.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that sound like a scam? Yes, it does. So go
let's keep
ahead.
talking more.
Unpack that.
Yep. You get free money if you qualify, right? So
Right.
we'll talk about that. You get free money if you sign up so that we actually do this for you. I don't know if anybody else has a done for you service. It's a first to market product. And you get, you have very unique situations that apply. So let's unpack that. So going back though, what is the Augusta rule? The Augusta rule has been in the tax code almost 50 years.
Okay.
50, a long time. Okay. The reason why it's not super well known or popular is because of all the compliance it takes on the business owner's side. That's one reason.
Okay.
Another reason is because still a lot of CPAs, in fact, I would venture to say most, that's just my guess. That's not a fact that I've nailed down.
Okay.
Most that I've talked to still don't know how this rule is applied to business owners. So you have most of your tax professionals don't know how it's applied to business owners. They have to then communicate it to a business owner. If they do understand it, the business owner then has to actually do the compliance and do it correctly, right? So there's a number of loopholes here, or not loopholes, a process. There's a number of steps that have to be taken, and you can get derailed in each one of them. So what we're doing is educating people on the rule, and then we are actually collaborating with the tax professionals to get it done, and then we're automating getting it done.
Okay.
So the rule itself, 50 years in the tax code, is that you can actually rent your home for up to 14 days a year tax-free. Okay, whatever. You can rent your home. Okay, well, I don't want strangers in my home. I don't want to rent my home.
Right.
Okay, so what the heck?
Turn me into an Airbnb.
Yeah, exactly. I have no interest.
Yep.
No interest. Okay, so if you're a business owner, you can rent your home to your business.
Okay.
So you can rent your home to your business because your business is legally a separate person in the eyes of the IRS.
Okay.
It's a different individual.
Yep.
This does not apply to sole proprietorships. Okay. For that reason.
Yeah.
So
right.
Again, there's a lot of nuance
So
here.
you need to be an LLC or a
LLC,
C corp or an S corp or
S-corp,
whatever.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. And we have this is again all part of our program. We get through this for people. But assuming you qualify, majority of businesses in the country qualify. Or the majority of businesses that have employees, let's put it that way,
Right.
qualify.
Makes sense.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so at that point, you can rent your home to your business. Okay, well, why does that matter? Well, when your business rents a space for an actual business purpose, you pay money for that.
Right.
Sometimes you pay a lot of money for that.
That's right.
Okay, like meeting spaces, seminar spaces, maybe even like a
This
wedding.
beautiful studio we're in right now.
Exactly, right?
Yes.
Although I hope you don't live here.
I don't live here.
Good, yeah.
Yes.
But if you, let's say, host a client dinner, or let's say you have your team up for a quarterly meeting or something like that, and you want to be like, look, I want to do it at my home because it's actually set up for, exactly. And so we do the same thing. We have a really nice 1,800 square foot patio and home, and we have large parties there, and we invite people over, and it's a business focus and purpose, a client dinner or whatever. And so when we do this, we can now take advantage of this tax rule, and we always could, but I told you the hurdles, and you can rent your home for a market value. Okay, so market value. Now there's a problem. So before we had our service, you had to go out and like grab Airbnb values or like how do you figure this out?
Right.
And are you somehow now like an expert at market appraisal and you're going to take that liability on? Well, some people did who are really brave, right? And did that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So now you've got that. Well, now you have to have a rental agreement that's compliant, that's signed properly, and stored, and not in like a manila folder that you
that
lose.
if the IRS goes after you, you're like, no, here it is. I've got it.
Yeah, I've got it. And then also, by the way, do you have a home office deduction? Like maybe there's a part of your home that you have an office carved out, and your tax professional is now not charging that amount of your home, so you have a little tax savings. Well, you want to keep that. So we need what's called an accountable plan is best practice. Not required, but best practice. So we want best practice.
Yep.
So we have that document you want to sign and capture so you can actually reimburse yourself from the business as an employee outside of payroll. I mean, there's a number of things here that are fairly complicated that business owners actually should not have to be experts in.
Yeah, and they don't want to spend their time thinking about it. Because if you're using mental cycles on this, you're not using them on building your business and driving value for customers.
That's exactly right.
Right. Okay.
That's exactly right. And so basically, long story long, we've created a platform where the business owner shows up for our onboardings currently are between 15 and 45 minutes. It depends on how many questions the owner has.
That's right.
That's a one-time annual onboarding for the customer. Okay. The business owner client.
Yep.
When they onboard on, then what we do is we find out who on their team has access to the calendar of the owner. Right. Most companies at scale have somebody who has access to that calendar.
Yep.
Okay. And then we actually train that person to then run our software.
Got it.
Which is
Makes
not
sense.
crazy complicated,
Right.
but we don't want that business owner doing it. And
Right.
that was the key unlock that we made.
Yeah, right.
And so then we have
Because they just don't want to.
correct. So
Yep.
we have the strategy call with the business owner. What's our strategy? What are we doing here? What are the comps that you can get in alignment with in terms of risk tolerance? What are the any questions you have? And then we turn it over to their team member, and then they don't need to be on the picture anymore, the business owner.
Makes sense.
And that's the beauty. And so then we're then collaborating with their team member, and what we're doing then is capturing money that they were previously throwing away to the IRS every time that they have a qualifying meeting at their home. We train them on what a qualifying meeting is. We actually enter all the notes for those meetings in their calendar. We try to identify qualifying meetings on their calendar. We set the whole thing up, reminder templates and systems.
Yep.
And again, they have a team member running this sub 3 hours a year.
Okay.
So whatever your cost
Right.
is in payroll for 3 hours of your employee, like that plus your 15 to 45-minute onboarding
Yep.
is your time into it.
Yep.
And then what we charge is a flat 8% of deductions.
Okay.
Whatever deductions we create for you,
Yep.
we charge 8% of that.
Because basically the business is paying rent to you for the use of your home, and for 14 days, if I remember correctly, that is tax-free.
That's correct.
Income,
100%
effectively. And so you
tax-free,
want to
state
go
and
up to
federal.
14 days or as close as you can within reason. And so depending on what the rental rate is and so on and so forth, that's all ends up being tax-free.
That's
income.
correct.
Got it.
Yep.
Interesting.
And so what we've also found is when people do this on their own with a spreadsheet, one, they're distracting themselves from their business purpose.
Correct.
Two, they've now got a spreadsheet or folders or something like that are just hanging out or can get lost.
Right.
And they're not experts at creating those valuations. And then on top, I didn't even mention this. On top of that, so my partner in this is a 30-year tax attorney.
Okay.
So this isn't just like me, Nathaniel,
Yeah,
that like really good at
smoking
the tax
weed.
code.
I know
after
what
all-
I'm gonna do.
After all these, construction
Right.
businesses I've started. Yeah, this is my tax attorney, 30-year. He's arguably the country's leading expert on this rule. He's the only one I've known that I've ever heard of that actually paid to purchase all the documentation of the recent case that was on this in 2023.
Really? Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
read it like 3 times through. This is like a shopping cart full of documents.
That
to me is
sounds
psycho.
so horrible.
Correct.
I cannot even think about it.
But
Yeah.
that's why. So John Heyer is like the man for this.
Yeah, right,
You can't even
right.
hire him anymore. You
Right.
cannot engage him.
Despite his
working-
last name.
Correct. He's working on this project, and he works for like ultra high net worth, like family office type thing, and that's it.
Right.
So basically, he is the reason why this exists,
Yeah.
and is the expertise. So I'm the guy who knows how to build a team and move it forward as a business, but he is the deep expertise. And so when we built this program, we said, well, how can we remove risk from our owners?
Yep.
Right. And so we actually offer a guarantee, which like you say that like as a tax attorney, that's like a curse word. It's like guarantee, we,
It's true.
right. So we offer an audit protection guarantee.
Okay.
Meaning if you get audited for any reason,
Yeah.
and it splashes on the Augusta rule, like anything
Yeah,
that
yeah.
contacts us, we will not only defend,
Right.
we will pay for the defense
Okay.
on this particular thing.
Yep.
So it's just like, look, this is legit. It's been in the tax code forever.
Yep.
This is how it works. Sign up. We do everything.
Here's how we do it. Yep.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yep.
Yeah,
So it's
cool.
basically if you've got a decent home, if you are willing to have people over at your home for business purposes,
Yep.
then you literally have money that you've been giving the IRS that you no longer need to give them.
Right. And that's one of my least favorite activities is giving money to the IRS. So that checks out. Okay.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Okay.
Fascinating discussion. And I hope everyone has learned a lot about hiring, about building culture, about building construction businesses, and then this really cool business. So if people want to find out more about your new business, where should they go?
TheAugustaRule.com. So
TheAugustaRule.com. Augusta, like as in like the golf
the Augusta
course.
Golf Course. 'Cause
There it
that's
is.
the nickname of the rule, which we can't talk about now. You
Okay.
can find out on the website.
Fantastic. TheAugustaRule.com.
Yes, sir.
This has been Nethaniel Ealy. I'm Andrew Krapschetz. This has been The Pipeline. I hope you have an amazing day. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks a lot, Andrew. Appreciate it.